In the late 1990s, there was one company that seemed impossible to defeat. It had more than 9,000 stores, tens of millions of loyal customers, and annual revenues measured in billions of dollars. Its blue and yellow signs could be found in cities and towns across America. That company was Blockbuster. For many families, a trip to Blockbuster on a Friday evening was a weekly ritual. Customers would walk through endless aisles filled with movies, hoping to rent the latest Hollywood release before someone else grabbed the last copy. At its peak, Blockbuster dominated home entertainment. It appeared unstoppable. But while Blockbuster was enjoying its success, a tiny startup was quietly preparing to change everything. Unlike Blockbuster, this company had no stores, very few employees, and almost no public recognition. Its name was Netflix. Within just a few years, this small startup would completely transform the entertainment industry. And in one of the most remarkable business stories ever told, Netflix would bring down a giant. This is the story of how Netflix defeated Blockbuster. The story of Netflix began in 1997. At the time, the internet was still in its infancy. Most Americans connected to the web using slow, dial-up connections. Streaming movies online was still impossible. Home entertainment was dominated by VHS tapes, and companies like Blockbuster seemed untouchable. But in California, two entrepreneurs were about to challenge that reality. Their names were Reed Hastings and Mark Randolph. The idea behind Netflix was surprisingly simple. Instead of driving to a video store, customers could order movies online. The DVDs would then arrive directly in their mailboxes. When they finished watching, they would simply mail them back. No driving, no searching crowded store shelves, and eventually, no late fees. It was a revolutionary idea, but in the beginning, very few people believed it would succeed. Netflix started as a tiny company, with only a handful of employees. Compared to Blockbuster, it barely existed. Yet inside that small office, a future giant was quietly taking shape. In the beginning, Netflix struggled. The company was small, unknown, and far from profitable. Meanwhile, Blockbuster was at the height of its power. With thousands of stores across America, the company saw little reason to worry about a tiny startup. To Blockbuster executives, Netflix seemed insignificant. Why would anyone order movies online and wait days for them to arrive, when a Blockbuster store was only a few minutes away? But Netflix kept growing, slowly and quietly. Then, in the year 2000, Netflix made an extraordinary proposal. Reed Hastings approached Blockbuster with an offer. Netflix would sell itself for just $50 million. Today, that amount seems unbelievably small, but at the time, Netflix was struggling. Its founders believed that joining forces with Blockbuster made sense. A meeting was arranged. Netflix executives traveled to Blockbuster headquarters, hoping to strike a deal. According to Mark Randolph, the meeting did not go well. Blockbuster executives reportedly laughed at the idea. The offer was rejected. Netflix returned home, empty-handed. But what seemed like a crushing defeat would soon become one of the most expensive mistakes in business history. As the new millennium began, something extraordinary was happening. The internet was changing, and it was changing fast. More and more Americans were gaining access to high-speed broadband connections. For the first time, streaming video online was becoming possible. Most people still rented DVDs, but Reed Hastings saw something that many others did not. He believed that the future of entertainment would not arrive in a mailbox. It would arrive through the internet. It was a risky idea. At the time, streaming technology was limited. Internet speeds were slow, and many people doubted that customers would ever watch movies online. But Netflix decided to take the gamble. In 2007, the company officially launched Netflix streaming. At first, the streaming library was small, very small, but customers loved the convenience. There were no discs to return, no waiting for the mail, and no late fees. Netflix was no longer just a DVD company. It was becoming a technology company. And while Netflix was reinventing itself, Blockbuster was still focused on its stores. The balance of power was beginning to shift. By the mid-2000s, the warning signs were becoming impossible to ignore. Netflix was growing. Customers loved the convenience, and the internet was transforming home entertainment. But Blockbuster was slow to react. Very slow. For years, the company continued to rely heavily on its thousands of physical stores. Those stores had once been Blockbuster's greatest strength, but now they were becoming a burden. Rent, utilities, thousands of employees. The costs were enormous. Meanwhile, Netflix operated without stores. Its business model was lean and increasingly efficient. Blockbuster faced another problem. For years, the company had earned hundreds of millions of dollars through late fees. Customers hated them. Many people dreaded returning movies late, but late fees were extremely profitable. Eliminating them would hurt revenues. Keeping them would anger customers. Blockbuster was trapped. Eventually, the company launched its own DVD by mail service. Later, it introduced online streaming. But by then, Netflix had already established a powerful lead. Blockbuster was no longer setting the pace. It was chasing it. And in business, chasing the future is rarely enough. The company that had once dominated home entertainment was falling behind, fast. By the year 2010, the battle was over. Netflix had surged ahead. Blockbuster was drowning in debt. Years of declining sales, mounting costs, and strategic mistakes had taken their toll. On September 23, 2010, Blockbuster filed for bankruptcy. It was a shocking moment. For decades, Blockbuster had been one of America's most recognizable brands. Millions of people had grown up visiting its stores. Now, the empire was collapsing. Store closures soon followed. One by one, thousands of Blockbuster locations shut their doors forever. Employees lost their jobs. Customers watched as an American icon disappeared from their neighborhoods. Meanwhile, Netflix continued to expand. Streaming was rapidly becoming the new standard. The company that Blockbuster had once laughed at was now worth billions. Today, only a single Blockbuster store remains. Located in Bend, Oregon, it stands as a reminder that no company, no matter how powerful, is guaranteed to survive. In business, success is never permanent.